Okay.
And it even took me a while because my sight reading is not the best, but if I was like on point, that would have been like that. So yeah, tabs and standard notation are extremely useful to read. I agree with Luca on saying that tab is not my favorite method of writing music. We both are jazz guys, so that has a lot to do with that with that opinion we have on that. But I do see the value in tabs. Like I personally started watching and learning rock tunes from YouTube, so tabs were the main tool I had for learning my songs and to develop my technique and other skills. So it's both of them have their advantages. Um, Music notation and standard notation, although it's I think more useful and as Lucas said more detailed, it's a little harder to get at first. While tabs are really easy to get, you just get some lines and some numbers, and that tells you where to play. So both of them will have their advantages. Again, we'll dive deeper into that. I also just wanted to add, guys, in case you want to consider joining the academy, I just left you the link on the chat. This is the kind of stuff we do over here every day. We talk about anything guitar or music related. So if you want to take a look and have a deeper conversation with us about how this works, please consider applying there. Also, for the ones that are over here on the Zoom meeting, remember you can participate and we'll be happy to talk with you. So if you have any questions or comments, raise your hands on Zoom or open your mics and we'll be just happy to answer whatever questions arise. With that in mind, yeah, let me try to play this again. So it was one, two, three, four. Right?
Yes, exactly. That's
I
exactly
think so.
right.
I think so.
Cool.
So yeah.
So, by the way, one thing that I wanted to mention is that you should, I mean, if you're interested in reading music, and it's something that I strongly recommend, I mean, if you're studying music, right, it's something that you really would like to get into, okay? Just because it's the language, right? And it's gonna make you a better musician in general, okay? Now, this is something that can be studied very systematically, okay? Just like we practice scales, just like we practice, chords or songs. What I suggest is start very simple, okay? There are tons of books around there that you can pick, some reading methods like sight reading methods for guitar that start out by just using open strings. And that's kind of like the way I started learning, using open strings, like using just whole notes, then moving on to half notes. So it's something that you can definitely study this on a very systematic basis. Now, one thing that I found, which is, I think it's awesome, is that if you study this like on a regular basis, like every single day, you will get good at it really fast, more than other things. Like, for example, improvising, studying improvisation is something that might take a long time before you can actually hear the things that you would like to hear. I mean, we as musicians, and especially as Juan mentioned, him and I are big jazz guys, so improvisation is a big part of that idiom, of that style. And I mean, I've been playing for 40 years and I'm still trying to get good at improvising. Okay? So it's something that takes a long time before you actually start hearing some, like you stop playing the same stuff. Each time I pick up the guitar, many times I feel that when I'm improvising, I'm just playing the same stuff over and over. Okay? So with sight reading, like if you start on a Monday and you spend 20 minutes okay, and you do that every single day, that very same Friday, like if you start from Monday to Friday, on that very same Friday, you will notice some great progress. So it's something that for me is super motivational to see that you can, make progress fast. You just have to stick with it like everything else, but it's something that, you're going to notice progress faster than a lot of other aspects of guitar playing, in my opinion.
Yeah, reading is a very mechanical progress. It's like going to the gym. The more you repeat it, the stronger you'll get. And yeah, especially if you want to play with other people, you start to play a lot of music. Like when you get to a certain level of learning songs, you can learn more and more and more songs. So if you're playing with a group or with a singer or whatever, the set list is gonna get bigger and bigger. So reading music is gonna be useful because you will need to get very fast at reading chord charts or reading melodies or reading riffs or tabs. So it's gonna be extremely important to work in this. Not only like tabs itself to learn actual note by note phrases, but also in general, reading will be a very useful skill, as Luca was saying, for improvising, for just learning a tune, for learning a chord progression. That's stuff that will be useful down the line. So I think it's very, very useful to work on that, especially early on. It will save you a lot of trouble. And again, for live music settings, you can just take a look at a chord chart. And if you're with a band and you know where to find your chords, it will be very easy to just go ahead and play right away with them without having actually listened to all the little details that a tune might have. So this is going to be extremely useful. With that in
Yeah,
mind, yeah, let's go back to the topic.
awesome. Oh, by the way, just, one little short thing that I wanted to add. If you learn how to read music, you're going to learn how to write it. So if you're into songwriting, okay, then it's something that you want to have under your belt. You want to write your own tunes and you can share them with musicians, you can share them with your band members, and it's going to save you tons of time. Okay, so if you have to go to a studio and pay for studio time, it's going to save you some money as well. So, well, that's something to keep in mind. So let's just go back to the other tab chart that I had here, and let's just start from the beginning. So first of all, what do these lines mean? Well, basically, the first step is knowing that these are basically the 6 strings of the guitar. Now, something super important is that this first line at the very bottom, that's going to be my low E string. So this one is going to be the low E. The next is going to be the A. The next is going to be D, G, B, and E. So it's kind of like if you take your guitar, okay, and you lay it down like on your knees, on your lap, okay, what you see is exactly what you're going to see on paper. Okay, that's kind of like the way I like to relate this. Okay, so by the way, something very important. The names of the notes that I just stated is if we're playing in standard notation. Okay, now if by any chance there's like a different type of tuning, that should be notated here on the tab as well. Okay, generally, if there's nothing notated, we can assume it's standard tuning. However, like if we're playing in drop D or something like that, then this note right here would be a D. You would see the note names, okay? So this would be a D, and then the rest are basically the same. A, D, G, B, and E. So that's the first thing we have to know, how we read this. So the bottom line is going to be my low E, okay, the low string, and the high E is going to be on top. That's number one. The other thing that we have to keep in mind is that we read this from basically left to right. Okay? So as the music flows, okay, this is going to be the first note, this is going to be the second note, and so on and so forth. Any questions so far? We're good? All good. Awesome. Okay, so well, let's see some examples. Okay, I pulled this basically from the web, and there are tons of, websites where you can see, like this is kind of like a legend, to show, most of the things that you will find on tab notation. Okay, so let me just make this a little bigger. And we can start by looking at each one of these little charts and see what they mean. So, the very first one, okay, the other super important thing that I forgot to mention, basically the numbers are going to be the frets. So basically, if I see these two numbers, 7 and 9, these are going to be, well, basically fret 7 and fret 9, where? On the G string. Okay, so this is going to be 7 and 9. Okay, so in this case, we've got this curved line, okay, going from 7 to 9. This basically means that these notes are going to play in what is known as legato style. So we're going to strike the first note and hammer on the second note. Many times you will see a letter H here on top, just to make it clearer, okay? Now, something different would be if the notes are the same. Let's say if we have a 7 and again another 7, okay, then the tie means that the first note is going to be plucked, and that note is going to last for this duration plus the other note, the other duration. So if we've got the same notes, if it would be 7, 7, okay, then it means that the first note is tied to the next. So we're talking about rhythm, we're talking about duration. We're not talking about a technique thing. Okay, does this make sense? Do you guys see the difference? Yeah? Cool. So basically, 7 to 9, different notes tied together with a curved line mean a hammer-on. That's basically what we're talking about. If we go to the next chart, it's basically the other way around. Okay? Now we're going from 9 to 7. So again, common sense is always something great to put into this. So if we generally see a higher note going to a lower note and it's tied together and we have nothing else here, well, this has to be a pull-off, okay? Because we're going from 9, so I'm striking the first note, pulling off to the 7, okay? So again, legato playing, hammer-on would be from a lower note to a higher note, pull off hammer-on from a lower to higher, pull off from higher to lower. Okay? So that's, the other side of this legato type playing. What else do we have here? Let's keep going. And by the way, guys, feel free to interrupt me anytime, okay? If something is not clear, that's what we're here for, to answer questions. So the next one, okay, so this one's interesting, okay? Well, basically, what do I have here? I've got a note on the D string, okay, fret 9, so I'm up here, okay? And then I've got a little curved line with an arrow going up, okay? And then I've got the number here at the top, which is a half. So what this basically means is that we want to do a half step bend. So, just one technical thing about bending, you know, for me, like the most important thing on a bend is hitting the correct note, hitting the correct pitch, okay? Well, that's a big part of it. So, one of the ways that I suggest to practice this is actually, okay, so we start on 9 and we want to go up half a step. So as we know, each fret on the guitar is basically a half step. So what this means is that we want to bend the note from fret 9 to the sound that we would have if we would hit the note on fret 10. So it's a half step. So what I would suggest to do is just first play the note, the starting note, play the target note. You can sing it, get it in your ear, and then do the bend. And I was a bit low there. Okay? This is also kind of like a weird place to bend the string. You know, like the D string is not one of the most common strings we bend. But anyway, if I were to bend the G string, it would make more sense. Like, for example, this is very common. Like, for example, if I'm in a B minor pentatonic situation, I could bend half a step to get to the blues note. Which is right here on the fret, on the 10th fret. Okay, so basically this is what a half step bend looks like. And if we scroll a bit lower here, again, I've got the 9, okay, and this time, well, on this string, it's even weirder. It's a full step bend, okay? Basically, a whole step. So again, I want to, you know, hit my starting note. I want to play my target note, which would be 2 frets higher. So this is the pitch I want to get. So this would sound something like this. Okay, so again, if I've got a half, it's a half step bend. If I've got this word full, or maybe the number 1, that would be a whole step bend. And you can also see different type of bends. You can find like 1.5 step bends and things like that. So basically the number, it's going to indicate where we want to, you know, bend the note to. What's going to be our target pitch, if this makes sense. Any questions so far? We're good? Cool. Okay, let's keep going then. So we've got hammer-ons. We've got pull-offs. We've got half step bends. Whole step bends. Let's see what else we can find here. Okay, here's a cool one. So this is, again, this is what's known as a release bend. So what this means is that we want to bend the note half a step and then bring it back down. Okay? So this would sound something like this. Again, I'm on the D string, so this would be like the effect that I want to hear is something like this. So it's, okay, I'm bending up and then I'm releasing down. There's a variation to this type of bend, which is not here in the examples, but I want to let you guys know. If you come across something like this, but the arrow is not curved, it's just straight up, okay? What this usually means is that we want to start from the bent note and bring it back down. So it's different if I do this, or if I start from the note bent and bring it down. Okay? One thing is this, another thing is this. Okay? So the difference in this case would be that the arrow is not curved, but it's straight up. Okay, cool. I'm going to keep going. You guys got to stop me. You got to ask questions if you need something. Let's keep going. Okay, the next one. Well, this time it's not a curved line. It's kind of like a straight line. Okay. What this means is that I want to slide from note, from the note on the 9th fret down to 7. So this would sound something like this. I'm starting on 9 and I slide down to 7. Okay, super common. Like that's one way I could use it. A variation of this is if I've got this straight line without any other note. Okay, so basically this means that there's no defined note that I want to go to. It's just free, it's open. So if I would play something like this, maybe, okay, something like that. Okay, I'm not defining where I want to go. It's just an open slide down, basically. Next. Okay, important. Yeah, Juan, you want to add something?
Yeah, I want to add something. Can you please scroll to your right? So you have slide down. I'm assuming the next one is slide up. So
Oh,
guys,
here
can
it
you
is.
see
Yeah.
how, yep, both slides are like diagonal straight lines. The slide down aims down. The slide
Down.
up means that's a very useful way of reading that as well.
Exactly. So thank you, Juan. This would be the other way. Okay, so in this case, I'm sliding from 7 up to 9. And again, by the same token, if I don't have any, specific note that I want to target, it's just open, it's free. Okay? Which is, I guess, less common. I've seen like maybe Stevie Ray Vaughan do that type of stuff sometime, right? It's just an effect, basically. Something like that, okay? But it is super common to see the slide down to an undefined note. That's something that I like to do a lot at the end of my phrasing, basically. When I play a phrase, it adds a cool little nuance there. So yeah, slide up and slide down. Let's keep going. Okay, this is an important one. So far, we've seen notes, consecutive numbers, one after the other. Whenever we find something like this, basically it means that the notes are played at the same time, simultaneously. So this would be, well, a chord. Okay, so in this case, on the ninth fret, this is the way I would play it. The three notes at the same time. So this could be basically it could be a B minor triad, for example. Okay? So every time that you find notes stacked one on top of the other, we're talking about chords. The next one. This, I don't see it very often, but it's something similar to what I mentioned at first. We've got the same note, okay, and it's tied together. So basically what this is implying is the duration of the note. We're just prolonging the duration. I'm not sure, Juan, if you have got, have you seen this at some other point that means something different?
Yeah, actually, I use them quite frequently when I need to transcribe tabs. I'll show you guys an example in a second, but the tabs I transcribe have tons and tons of ghost notes. But basically, I don't see them written like that. So right there, it says fret 9, and that's it, right? So it's just tied to another fret 9. The way I see it, it's usually a different note. So for instance, let's say fret 9 is the initial note, and the ghost note will be fret 10 to say something. So like that kind of real quick approach to a note. That's the way I see ghost notes. Usually the other way around. The ghost note would be the first one, and the second one would be the actual note. So think, let's say fret 9 as the ghost note to fret 8 as the actual note. That would sound like this. Instead of just playing, it's... So that kind of stuff appears. I'll show you guys an example in a moment. But let's just keep going with this one.
Okay, yeah, we've got a couple more that I want to show you guys. So, the first one right here, this is basically, okay, so we've got two types of vibrato. And it's just, how much vibrato we're going to add to the note, basically. So, usually when you see these types of vibrato, it's kind of subtle, okay? So basically right now I'm on the ninth fret and it's just a little shake, okay? A faster shake, so to speak. The other one, this little symbol is a bit bigger, so this is a wider vibrato, okay? So it's more of a, something like that. Okay.
Think Dimebag Darrell kind of stuff. Like in metal, you'll see those violent vibratos a lot.
Exactly. So basically, if this vibrato symbol is smaller, it's kind of like a subtle vibrato. If it's larger, okay, it's just, different effects. Let's keep going here. We still got 10 minutes. Okay, the next one. Palm mute. Well, again, this is basically just notated with these letters, P, M, and then we've got little dotted lines for the duration of that. So this is basically, again, now I'm on my low E string, again, fret 9, and I just want to palm mute. So, something like this. Okay? So that's palm muting. The next one. This is an interesting one because it's similar to a chord. This happens a lot doing chords. Okay? But we have, again, the same three notes. This time they are not stacked on top of each other, but we've got something here that says let ring. So what this means is that we strike the first note, but we're basically going to let it ring until the next and the next. So this would sound something like this. Okay, as opposed to the chord. okay, in this case is, this is super common. You're gonna find this many times. What else?
Or also, let me just add something real quick to that, and it's
Please go ahead, yeah.
let ring. Let ring can mean, for instance, if you have that succession of 999, if it doesn't say let ring, that would be like this. Sorry, 9. Like cutting each other. But if it says let ring, you'll keep them pressed. Okay, the difference is keeping them pressed versus not. Not would be
Yeah, exactly. Totally. Thanks, Juan. Absolutely. Okay, the next one, natural harmonic. Okay, so this is a little diamond sign, okay, on fret 5. So this would be something like this. That's the natural harmonic. Okay? So one tip that I want to give you guys to play harmonics is, okay, basically, when you play the harmonic, you want to target exactly on top of the fret. If I move this, I'm going to get different notes. I'm not going to get the desired sound. So I want to hit it like exactly on top of the fret. Okay? Another tip for playing harmonics, with your right hand, the harmonic is going to sound louder if you play more towards the bridge. It's going to be easier to sound. Okay? And also, if you use the bridge pickup, it's going to sound more powerful. It's going to be easier to get that sound out. Okay? And I love that sound of harmonics are beautiful. These are natural harmonics. Okay? What else do I have here? Okay, this little symbol, this now refers to the pick. So when we have this little kind of house thing, this is a downstroke. So here again, fret 9 of the D string, okay, a downstroke with my right hand. As opposed to this little V thing, which is an upstroke. Okay, so a V is going to be an upstroke. The little box is going to be a downstroke. Another one that you can see here, a dead note. Well, basically this is just, you know, a sound, like a percussive sound made with the guitar. Okay, it's just an X. So this would be on the B string, and it can be done on any place on the guitar, really. Okay, so it's more of a percussive effect. What else? Okay, tapping. Tapping is going to be notated with a little T. So now I'm on, again, the B string, fret 9, but this time I want to hit it with my right hand, with my picking hand. So this would be basically this on 9. That would be 7. Right here on 9. Okay? Another one that you can see here. Okay, when you have these little numbers at the bottom, this is the fingering of the fretting hand. Okay? So basically this is going to be, these are the frets and these are the fingers we're going to use. Okay? So in this case would be 6, 7, 9. So 6 would be, again, on the D string with my index finger. 7 with my middle finger, and 9 with my pinky. Okay, so 1 is index, 2 is middle finger, 3 would be my ring finger, and 4 would be the pinky. So in this case, we've got the frets and the fingerings. What else?
Just adding a quick note to that, I find
Yep.
that very common on classical guitar notation. On
100%.
electric guitar, not so much. But yeah, for classical, in case any of you is interested into that, those fingering notations will really tell you where to place your hands, because it can get very confusing and complex to play those weird stuff here. So that really makes it easier. But yeah, I don't see that around that much on stuff that's not classical.
That's not classical, yeah, yeah. But it's again, it's a help. You know, it helps if you have it. And finally, well, we've got this guy right here, which is an X with a tremolo sign. This is like this type of sound. Okay. Again.
Yeah, with distortion sounds cooler.
Yeah, 100%. Exactly. And then finally, this one is interesting because we've got a 7, but then we've got a 9 in parentheses, and we've got a little like vibrato sign, but then we've got a TR, which is a trill. Okay, so the way to perform this, it's like a sequence of hammer-ons and pull-offs, and instead of just putting a whole bunch of hammer-ons and pull-offs one after the other, we would just have something like this. That's basically the effect. And finally, well, we've got something that unfortunately I can't demonstrate because I don't have a tremolo bar here. But I guess you get the idea. So basically, here again, we've got a 9, and then we've got a -1, which means basically that we want to lower the sound a whole step, okay? And then bring it back up with this little 9 in parentheses, okay? So, well, that's what this means basically. I don't know if you, do you have a whammy bar, Juan?
No, not really, but it sounds like this. I'm gonna just bend it. But with
Right.
the tremolo, like,
Exactly. And finally, tremolo bar dive. Again, this is very common in rock and like heavy metal. Those big bomb dive bombs, what they're called.
yeah, think Eddie Van Halen on Eruption at the end.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Ooh.
Yep, yep. All right, guys. So, well, hopefully this has been helpful. Again, I'm gonna share this little chart on the school website for you guys to check it out. But it's super common. I mean, you can find it on the web. Just look for tab notation, guitar tab notation, and well, hopefully now all of these weird symbols make a little bit more sense. Again, I'm going to put here on the chat box the link if you guys are interested in knowing a little bit more about how Academy works. Please feel free to join us. Again, these free lessons happen twice a week, and you know, it's always a pleasure to have you guys here. And they're kind of showcasing a little bit what we do like on an everyday basis in the GuitarZoom Academy. So yeah, any questions at all, guys? Please, now's the time to do them. We've got 1 more minute.
Just need to practice all this stuff and get back to you.
Awesome, awesome. Yes, sir. You know, obviously, you know, this was a lot of information. Okay, this is recorded, by the way. You can check it again as many times as you need to. But you know, the idea is for you guys to get a bit more familiar with this type of notation. Uh, Another day we're gonna do another one of these sessions, but focused more on music notation. Okay,
Great.
so yeah, I think that's pretty much it for me. Juan, if you want to add something else, my friend.
Yeah, my computer just kind of exploded. I
Another.
wanted to share my screen, but I'll show you with my camera in just a second while this thing reacts. I just wanted to add a couple of things. The first one is the title of this class said rhythm notation. Unfortunately, time ran out. I don't know how an hour went by and we couldn't really get into that. But that's a good idea maybe for next week. I really had something prepared for that. So we'll get into that, at least to get like some basics of rhythm notation.
One
But yeah,
hundred percent. Yeah, yeah, we'll do that. Well, we already have a topic for next week, guys. So
yep.
we're gonna have a part two of this class, which is gonna be focused on rhythm notation.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And also, guys, let me try to show you the tabs that I had over here. Again, my computer kind of exploded, so I'll need to show you with my camera on my phone, but hopefully it works. So look, this is a transcription I did from a solo on YouTube. Let me see if this rotates. Yep. So look, I just want to show you guys. These are the chord lines Luca was mentioning. Those H's are hammer-ons. Those P's are pull-offs. So that was just to say, it also depends on the kind of software you're using or when was the tab made or by whom. Like you maybe just find a little curved line or you find more details such as those H and P's that stand for hammer-ons and pull-ups. I just wanted to show you a couple of extra things. So that's a long legato line. As you can see, that line extends, not only connects two notes, but connects all of them. So that means that you only pick this 7 and just do hammer-ons for the rest of them. That's what that means. What else? We have more legato here. As you can see, these ones don't have a curved line. That would mean that you just pick them. What else over here? We got more legato, more legato. I saw a slide. Let me see where. Not finding it, but we'll find the slide in a second. But yeah, oh, here it is actually. Right here. This is a ghost note. As you can see, the number is a little bit smaller than the second number over here. So this is a ghost note, and you slide up to fret 9 over here. You have also the slash, that stands for a slide, and there's also an SL dot, that's short for slide. So again, that level of detail depends on when was the tab made, by whom, by what software did they write it, but you can encounter those. Also, I just wanted to leave you guys, I'll post this on school in a second. Let me just find the tabs real quick. But I did that like a quick transcription for a song. It's right here. I'll post it again, as well as with the link to the song. But it's basically just in case you guys want to get like intro into reading tabs. It's an arpeggio, so you'll find not only the tabs itself, but also the standard notation here for the rhythm, and you'll also see some chord diagrams on top of the sheet. So that's gonna be useful for just remembering the fingerings in case you're starting out with this kind of stuff. But yeah, I'll share this. This is from a song called Pocket Full of Stars by a band called Nine Black Alps. Pretty sweet arpeggio, pretty good not only to work on your tab reading, but as well as your finger picking. So I'll make a post for that and see you guys around next week, okay?
Okay. Sounds great.
Alright.
Look forward to
Awesome.
it.
Thanks for joining, guys. That was awesome. Thank you,
Thank you very
Juan.
much.
And we're up for the next rhythmic notation and to dig deeper into this for next week, 100%.
Cool.
Definitely. And remember applying for our academy, guys, in case you're digging this kind of stuff. We do this every day and in more depth depending on your customized process. So we'll be happy to talk to you, okay?
Great.
Thanks for
Okay, guys.
joining, guys. Have a
Thank
have
you.
a pleasant
Guys,
evening
awesome.
wherever you are.
See ya.
Bye bye.
Thank you.